There are lots of measures in place to ensure that we have confidentiality as well as safety within clinical trials. We have safety in clinical trials in making sure, one, that providers are basically trained and have a background in specifically HIV and AIDS care. We also have lots of safety measures that include multiple tests that are done on a regular basis and shared with the patient on a regular basis so that they can understand their journey and how this medication that they're taking is affecting them. We also have other ways of keeping patients safe by collecting data while they're not in the office, such as patient diaries, 24-hour contact, where you can call someone 24 hours a day if you're having any kind of event. And some of the ways that we make sure that we keep things confidential is we have very low barrier to your name when you participate on a clinical trial. We make sure that your name doesn't appear anywhere except on the consent form to keep confidentiality, because there is still a stigma for HIV patients in this country.
Two companies or the two institutions that I think play an important role are the FDA, right? And also the Institutional Review Board, making sure that even from the protocols, before it even gets okayed, that this is going to be something that's going to benefit patients and not bring harm to them.
We address ethical concerns when it comes to patient consents by making sure, one, that it is done by all of the rules and regulations that are required, which come from the FDA as well as the Institutional Review Board, our IRB, who is there for patient safety, and that is their entire goal. We make sure that it is looked at on multiple levels. And we also make sure that we go over certain points. We want to make sure that you understand the medication that you're going to be taking or the device you might use. We want to make sure that you know the risk. We want to make sure that you know the benefit.
You know, Kenyetta, that brings to mind a term that's floating around right now, patient-centered research, right? Because historically it was just kind of about focusing on the virus or focusing on the drug, but patient-centered research, as I've seen you do for so long, is really a way that we, again, take the information out of the books, out of the chapters, out of that protocol, and communicate it completely to patients in the way they understand, and being transparent. Some of the most promising emerging trends in HIV research are taking things digital. That allows a broader scope of patients to participate at any level from where they are all over the nation. The other emerging trend is getting to the point where we can customize our therapy with something called gene therapy, where you can look at what HIV is, where it is in the cell, and depending on your molecular makeup, looking at ways to splice it right out. Also, an emerging trend I'd like to mention is diversifying people that are at the table forming the protocols, that are at the table doing the recruiting, at the table with patient support, and therefore more diverse patient participation.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing, Dr. Green, that we really have to think about is how you also participate in research. And when you find that something is wrong or you don't have an answer, you look for research. So I think that that will continue to emerge. And if we continue to let providers know it's okay to participate in research, it's okay to seek out research as you've done with your practice, then we will continue to grow the diversity component on all levels within clinical trials. I definitely see the structure and the implementation of clinical trials changing. There are a lot of electronic options for various things in treatment now, and that electronic also goes to the portion of the research where we can actually speak to people on video. We can collect the data electronically. We can transmit data electronically. We're just waiting for the FDA to give us more regulations around it so that we can make sure that we collect the same efficacy level of data that we've been collecting.
Diversified leadership yields diversified structure. Patients being able to have greater access during the build out of the structure. Clinicaltrials.gov, you mentioned that earlier.
You can go to clinicaltrials.gov and look up any kind of research. There is a search engine and you can type in HIV City of Chicago or, HIV New York, Manhattan, and it will give you locations that are doing HIV research. They will tell you all about the drugs. This is now available to everyone, patients and providers and researchers. And previously, it was only available to researchers and providers. So this is a great option to figure out emerging research and to know that it is emerging electronically.